All right, we came oh so close, but the fact of the matter is we did not do it. The Dow Jones Industrials, but 4.5 points from an all-time high. That was reached back on January 14, 2000, and 3 or 4 times today we were comfortably over that level, but we just couldn't hold it. In fact, even in the last 10 minutes of the day, we were over it, but couldn't hold that. 11,718.45, still the highest number we had since that high in 2000. We'll see if tomorrow's the day for the turnaround. All right, word today that al-Qaeda doesn't just want to kill us, they want to nuke us. In a 20-minute audio tape, a man believed to be the al-Qaeda leader in Iraq calls on nuclear scientists and explosive experts to join the holy war, saying that American bases are a good place to test these unconventional weapons. Does this make winning in Iraq even more important? With us now is Texas Senator Kate Bailey Hutchison. Senator, good to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, Neil.
You know, Senator, when I saw that flash on the wires, hey, help wanted, nuclear scientists, I got, that's scary. That's pretty scary.
It is scary, and I think it shows why we have to have the absolute commitment to deal with this war as a real enemy against freedom, against our country, against people in our country, and to talk about cruel and inhumane treatment on a day when someone has announced that they should experiment with nuclear drugs or nuclear capabilities against any foreigner that they can find shows how dangerous this enemy really is.
I wonder if the zeal for Iraq, as you know, Senator, even many in your own party are starting to get anxious about it, certainly going into these midterm elections. Are you saying that if we don't keep our resolve, terrorists elsewhere will take that as a sign to hit us in other places?
Oh, absolutely. I think if we show weakness, the terrorists will be emboldened. They will come into America. They will go to other Western countries. We know from the leaked information that they think Western Europe is also a good target. And they are showing that they have no moral standards, no humanity about them. They cut people's heads off. They want to experiment with nuclear options if they can find a foreigner to do their experiment on. This is sadistic. It is sick. And we must take it seriously, and we must not show any sign of weakness or lack of resolve.
Is it your sense, Senator, quickly while I still have you, that this detainee measure, compromise between the president and in some way with Republicans, is a deal now and will be passed?
Yes, it will be passed. The president is very confident that he has the ability to question people, to get the information which we needed to act to satisfy the Supreme Court ruling, because we certainly don't want to stop questioning people. We are getting good information, and we must be firmly committed to continuing to get information that would save American lives.
Senator Hutchison, thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil.
All right, as the senator hinted there, you're looking live at the Senate floor where we're waiting for a vote on this terror detainee bill. President Bush making a stop on Capitol Hill this morning to urge its passage. And it's a bill he says that is critical to keeping America safe. So how will my next guest vote? With us now is Democratic Senator Ken Salazar of Colorado. Senator, which way will you go?
Yeah, I think with the modifications that have been made to the legislation, I can support it. We have to remember what the White House had proposed was doing away with the protections of the Geneva Convention. And it took Senator McCain and others to come back and to make the kinds of changes in it that I hope to be able to support it. There's 5 amendments that we're going to vote on, and I'm looking at those amendments, but I think we generally have legislation that I can support.
So, Senator, let me ask you this. Do you know whether your sentiment reflects those that of most Democrats now, or is this going to be a really close vote?
Yeah, I don't know because I haven't done a vote count, but I would expect there are some Democrats that are going to vote against it because they believe that it doesn't go far enough in terms of dealing with certain important constitutional issues like the right of habeas corpus, which is part of our Constitution. So there are things that are going to be of concern to some of my colleagues, and I'm sure that some of them are going to be voting against the legislation.
All right, but it's your sense, sir, that this will pass?
Yeah, my sense is that it will pass. Obviously, the Republican majority has 55 votes, so just on Republican votes alone, it'll probably pass. The president has been asking them to vote on his behalf, and so I expect that they will do the president's bidding here.
Yeah, indeed. 4 of them who were against those other 51 did indicate that this was acceptable to them. How much residual damage do you think this has done, though, the debate back and forth on this?
Yeah, I think what it has shown to me as a Democrat, as I've watched some of the negotiations between the White House and Senator McCain and others, is that this White House has a tendency of wanting to make sure that it gets its way all of the way. It's their way or the highway. And I think what ended up happening here is that there were very serious concerns raised by Secretary Colin Powell and others about how this would undermine America's high road in terms of our moral high ground on the war on terror. And so I think that the administration had to pull back. But I think it does show the pattern and practice of the administration, which is essentially it's our way or the highway.
So your sense is now maybe both sides can find common ground here on other issues, or this was unique?
You know, I think on this particular issue, there's an amendment that would sunset the provisions within 5 years. I think that's important so that we can take another look at this legislation in 5 years and see how it's working. We're dealing with some very fundamental constitutional issues here.
All right, Senator.
And I think it's important that we be thoughtful about it.
Thank you very much. More.